Professor P.J. Kurian, I think is joining us online. Sri Manmohan Sharmaji, Secretary, Professor Sudesh Nangia, Dr. Prem Talwar, other members of Parliament, sisters and brothers who are watching this program online. I'm very happy and delighted to release the two reports of Indian Association of Parliamentarians for Population and Development, IAPPD, Status of Sex Ratio at Birth in India, that speaks of the imbalance in the number of females and males in the population. Elderly population in India, status and support systems. These are the two topics. Highlighting the issues concerning the elderly population of the country, and they made some useful recommendations. Both are very important topics. I compliment the members of Parliament and also this association for taking up these two very important issues, both vulnerable in nature that way, and making a good study, and then coming out with these two reports along with their recommendation and all. These two reports cover very, very important social issues being faced by the country today. Let me congratulate the organization and also Professor Kurian and others who are all involved in the presentation, discussion and presentation of this report. Dr. Talwar and Dr. Sudesh Nangia and Dr. J.S. Yadav, they have put a tremendous effort to complete this detailed study within a short period. My dear brothers and sisters, globally, the number of people above the age of 60 years is on the rise. Countries like Japan, Russia, Germany, UK, and USA have a population that are aging fast, indicating that the world has several challenges related to the aging population. Of course, in India, we have a demographic dividend. We have good amount of young population. It's a matter of satisfaction that the life expectancy in India has gone up substantially during the past 5 decades. This has led to an increase in the proportion of the elderly population. Our elderly population is likely to be more than 300 million in 2050. Just now it was explained. That means it will be around 20% of our population. That is 1/5. We must ensure that our elderly remain healthy, socially engaged, financially secure, and productive. They should be engaged, they should be financially secure, and they should be productive. Because with the knowledge that they have acquired over the years of their life, they will be able to give it back to the society if they are socially engaged and if they are utilized in a proper manner, not only by the family, by the society, by the leadership of the country and the state. I feel extremely distressed when I come across reports of neglect, abandonment, or abuse of elderly. My friends, encouraged by me, they are running a NGO by name Swarna Bharat. They are doing a lot of activities, free medical service, education, vocational courses, focus is more on skill development for women. One day my daughter also is one among them, active. So she came to me and she said, We have taken up 17 activities. Now we want to set up a home for aged. I was not initially positive. I told her we should not encourage this system. She was a little surprised. She thought I am going to appreciate her and encourage her and all. I said, in India, our family system is such that families take care of the elders till the end. That is the duty, sacred duty of the family members' children to take care of their elders. This is how we were brought up. We never heard old age homes, homes for the aged, parents living in some place, children living in some other places and all. But because of social, economic, developmental changes, lot of changes have come, and then these old ages have become, homes have become a reality. So I told my daughter, do one thing, if you are all keen, do it, but don't admit anybody whose children are there in the same town. They are somewhere outside the state or working abroad, okay, give preference to only such people. Second, I said, name this as an elderly home. Don't call it as home for the aged. Then I told her, you will also become elderly one day. You know that in Telugu, I don't know what it is called in Hindi. Hindi also must be same. Vruddha ashram. Vruddha. Vruddha means, meaning he is almost retired, he has become this thing. I said, don't do it. Call it as Peddala Ashramam. Peddala means elders' home. So they are continuing it for I think more than 12 to 13 years. The family system in India is greatly appreciated across the globe, because we feel it's our sacred duty to take care of our elders, and then we get enlightened. I can tell you, because I lost my mother at a very young age of 13, 14 months. The knowledge I acquired is because of my grandmother and my grandfather. The, what you call prapanchika parijnanam, that the common sense of the society, of the world, that was given to me initially by my grandparents. That is missing today. And that is the reason for nowadays tension, stress, disillusionment, disappointment, and now they are talking, added new word, depression. Depression is because of separation also. And now, during this pandemic, lot of people are spending some time with their grandparents. Elders are also spending some time with the children. That's one positive side of this pandemic. It pains me greatly to note that such incidents, which are reported in newspapers about abandonment or neglect or abuse of elderly people, that really pains me. It pains society also. In spite of the legislations like Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Citizens Act 2007, this is a completely unacceptable trend. As a society, we owe the elderly a great debt of gratitude. It is the fruit of their resolve and hard work that we enjoy today, as I explained in my own case. It should be remembered that we are a civilization that has always accorded respect for elderly. We have given the most esteem and also respect to our elders. Even Manusmriti, one of our ancient texts, has this statement: if one serves the elderly with devotion, he or she is blessed with a long life, sound education, fame and strength. We should take inspiration from these noble thoughts from the past and shape societal response to the elderly. Under our traditional joint family system, our elders enjoy a place of reverence. They are the custodians of the ritualness, traditions, family honors, and samskara. The rapid proliferation of the nuclear families coupled with urbanization, intergenerational bonding has weakened. In joint families, children enjoy the tender care, love, affection, patronage, wisdom, and guidance of the older generation. So we must promote and preserve to the extent possible our age-old family system. We should revive the traditional family system and should continue to be a model for other countries. The core of Indian philosophy is share and care. That is the core of Indian philosophy. That is the core value of our Indian civilization. This is a societal responsibility. I am not saying it's not a government. Government is there. Government has to. The government has initiated many schemes like Varishta Pension Bhima Yojana, integrated program for senior citizens, and national program for health care of elderly, apart from giving concessions in income tax and railways, air travel for the welfare of the elderly. Many more things need to be done. Thanks to the improvements in life expectancy, the elderly now live for 17 to 20 years and beyond the age of 60. Many remain professionally active for years after they turn 60 and work full-time or part-time also. We must therefore consider equipping our elderly population with the new age skills so that they can lead fuller professional lives and keep contributing to nation building. We must remember that if young are the demographic dividend, I say seniors are demographic bonus for the nation. They are the demographic bonus for the nation. There is an urgent need to reorient our health system to address the specific needs of the elderly by providing medical benefits and ensuring insurance coverage also. On the societal front, apart from relatives, neighbors, local NGOs, and police need to be sensitized and trained to look after the social and emotional needs of the elderly, more so of single women, the differently abled, and those suffering from morbid conditions. There is also need to develop elderly-friendly public community spaces. The elderly should not be made to stand in queue for a long time, and separate counters should be set up for them in places like banks and other public utilities. I am happy that you are sensitizing the elected representatives. These elected representatives are supposed to sensitize the society because they are the representatives of the people. I am sure that this very insightful report will go a long way in highlighting the challenges being faced by our elderly and finding suitable and sustainable solutions to this. I suggest to the media to focus their attention, go through these reports, publish them, so that the society can be consoled better. That is the need of the hour. I personally feel and suggest to the media that both the issues of sex ratio as well as the problems of senior citizens, they need special attention by the media, by the elected representatives, by the governments. Media, if it highlights, then there will be more focus and attention by the other people. India has been grappling with a skewed sex ratio. We find that the number of child born is much less than what is the general or natural norm. We in our country have more than 109 or 110 male babies, as explained, born for every 100 female babies. 2011 census also says 940 females for every 1,000 males. This shows that there is a silent emergency and has serious consequences that will affect the stability of our society. This has to be noted. In spite of strict enforcement of the PCPNDD Act, we come across reports of sex-selective abortions. The only way to end this menace is to create a society that is free from all forms of gender discrimination. There is a need to change the mindset of the people, and this should begin at home. Boys must be made to treat girls with respect and courtesy. The visionary schemes of the government such as Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao and Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana have brought into sharp focus the need to promote and protect the girl child, but a lot more needs to be done. Moral education should be imparted in schools to children so that they grow up to be responsible and sensitive citizens. They become sensitive citizens who view gender discrimination as immoral. Gender discrimination is immoral that way. There must be strict implementation of the laws banning female feticide and dowry while ensuring free and compulsory education for all girl children. Women must be given equal share in the property. There was some Supreme Court judgment also. I say they must be given equal share in public life, in property, in every walk of life, so that once you give them property rights, they will be economically empowered. They will be less prone to exploitation and harassment. This is the reality, we all know. We must also ensure adequate reservation is made for women in parliament and legislature. I am not talking of a particular percentage because the political parties has to sit together, discuss the issue and evolve a consensus and move on. It's really unfortunate that this proposal is pending for long, even in the Indian Parliament. The Rajya Sabha has approved it. The governments of the day and political leadership of the country, they should come, sit together and evolve a consensus and then move on. That is the requirement at the earliest on this important issue. Country's progress will be hampered if women are not properly empowered because they are 50% of our population. Districts with a larger imbalance in sex ratio should receive greater attention from the elected representatives. I suggest to my office that these two reports should be sent to all state governments with a letter from our office suggesting to them they should go through the report and take appropriate action at their level. So I have two suggestions. One is the media should focus separate attention on these two issues by way of making further study and then presenting a report. Second is the state governments should focus on the gaps, shortcomings, why it is happening in their state, what are the reasons, what are the steps they have taken and which should be improved further. This is very much required. The Niti Aayog, Women and Child Development and Social Justice Ministry should focus more and more on these two aspects. I appreciate the AIPPD role it plays in the development and activities of the country. Studies like this and their recommendations will go a long way because now the report says India's population is expected to grow to 1.52 billion by 2036. That is 25% when you compare with 2011 census. This is another area of concern, but unfortunately, enough attention is not being paid to this issue of population. Families must plan their population. It's not the government alone. Everybody should think about this issue. As the population size increases, developmental challenges become more and more. It's not that development has not taken place. Various governments have taken various steps. A lot of development in the country. We are now moving ahead, but there are gaps. Even now, 20+% are below poverty. 20% are illiterate, and the girl-child number is more. So this situation has to be addressed. And one aspect is, whatever you have, you share it. So you plan the family accordingly. And then move on. The delivery of basic services to reduce poverty is also an important aspect. Prime Minister Narendra Bhai said in his Independence Day speech last year that those who follow the policy of family contribute to the development of nation, and that it is an expression of their love for the nation. Very important statement made. Political parties and people's representatives should focus on this vital issue and educate the people. In our country, population means you remember what happened some time back during emergency. No, we must educate the people. We must make them aware of the consequences. One is general education. Another is social education. And then leaders speaking about such issues time to time. Media focusing its attention through debates and discussions on the television channels. Not on political issues alone. They devote more time to political issues and sometimes create and further more tensions and do not pay enough attention to the other vital issues, unfortunately. So concerted action by all the stakeholders, including the elected representatives, parliamentarians, is very much required. I should suggest that there should be wider debate on these issues, and the public representatives must focus more. Madam was explaining about number of questions and subject asked by members, area of interest and all. These issues, they are very much important. One is 50% of the population, other is 20% of the population. Proportional concern is not being shown for whatever reason it is. So I suggest that there should be wider discussion and wider dissemination of this information, because this is given after a study, objective study by publicly conscious, socially conscious people. I once again appreciate the group for providing these two research reports, and I suggest people to go through it with all seriousness that is required. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.